The green rush is real. From lawmakers and investment bankers to CEOs and investors, we'll look at how people are transforming cannabis from the shadows of the black market into a cash crop that draws in cannapreneurs from Hollywood to Wall Street. Here to help you navigate the business of cannabis, please welcome Lewis Goldberg and Ann Donahoe. Brought to you by KCSA Strategic Communications.
Welcome to The Green Rush. I'm Ann Donahoe, and today we're joined by our associate producer, Nick Opich, who will be playing the role of Lewis Goldberg with way less corny dad jokes. Today we're chatting with David Sutton, the president and COO of NanoSphere Health Sciences. NanoSphere is a biotech company that has the first and only commercialized nanotechnology platform that essentially allows for the precise dosing for cannabis. He'll talk to us about exactly what nanotechnology is and how it's making waves in how cannabis can actually be delivered. One quick note before we start, if you can please rate and subscribe to The Green Rush on iTunes or Stitcher or wherever you listen to it, that would be amazing. And make sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter with the handle @GreenRushComms. David, welcome.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
So looks like you are a born and bred Coloradan. You did your undergrad work and your grad work in Colorado. So is cannabis in your blood? Can you just tell us a little bit about your journey into cannabis?
Well, it's not currently in my blood, but
Noted.
I've seen. What's been nice about growing up and living in Colorado is I've seen the cannabis industry go from black market to med market to complete adult use market, and it's been really interesting to watch it transition from all of those phases.
So go ahead.
Yeah,
sorry, Nick.
So David, great to have you on. Thanks for joining us. I don't think Ann mentioned this, but you are a KCSA client. But I would love for you to kind of give our listeners some background on your technology. I think one of the most things that people know is that there are medicinal benefits to cannabis, but it's so little is actually talked about when it comes to proper dosing. It's kind of really wild west like. So can you talk to us more about like how nanotechnology is one of these solutions, and really what is nanotechnology and how it works with the cannabis industry?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you say anything nano, you're really referring to the size of things. So nano is just a form of measurement. And so what we're talking about is smaller than micron. It's a nano, 1/1000th of a centimeter, if you will. And so traditionally, and why that's beneficial in the cannabis realm is traditionally the THC molecule is a really sticky molecule, and it likes to bind itself to itself. This makes for creating a topical product such as our Evolve Nano Serum hard to be effective unless you can break apart those molecules from each other and then coat them with a carrier system that prevents them from recombining as they sit on store shelves. And so that's exactly what we've done. NanoSphere began as a biotech company working in nutraceuticals. From there, we started exploring nano-encapsulated NSAIDs, or things like Advil, Aleve, ibuprofen. And now have taken the technology into the cannabis industry to some pretty good success so far, and we're very excited about what it's offering the industry in terms of precise dosing, increased bioavailability, and faster onset of actions.
So with that dosing, is there any specific conditions that you guys are targeting, or maybe even specific demographics, like the elderly people that may have like joint pains and stuff? Is that kind of your market?
Demographics, yes, absolutely. We're going after baby boomers and people of that generation for, the treatment of pain. We found that this specific formula that we've developed is really effective at treating pain and as well as anxiety. I know plenty of people who place it on pulse points, and it gives them just almost a sense of relief or elevation in mood. So it's really a two-part product, which we're pretty happy about.
Just real quick, can you just tell people what exactly is in it? How many parts CBD, how many parts THC, just so they can maybe get an idea of the level of dosing that you guys are talking about here?
Absolutely. So we deliver in microliter dosing. dosing. So 250 microliters is a dose. It contains 10 milligrams of THC, 2 milligrams of THCA, and 2 milligrams of CBD, along with natural terpenes and other beneficial ingredients like vitamin E.
So how much education do you guys have to do with physicians around this? Like, are you finding that physicians are interested in this? Do they need a lot of education? Really, what's your guys' process in working with them? Because it seems like it would be something really helpful for them to be able to offer to their clients. Like, what's the education level that you guys are finding?
Absolutely. We found that the physicians and doctors around the industry are always craving more information, not only on our product, but the cannabis as a therapy in general. So we do work with them quite closely in providing that education. We teach them about the nano encapsulation, teach them what we've found from our formulation and how it's treating arthritis or joint pain, disc pain, things like that. We put on sessions with them, not Jeff sessions, but we put on seminars, if you will, to help bring them up to speed on all the current findings of cannabis therapy.
I mean, I would imagine you have to do that with bud tenders too, because this is both for the medicinal and the adult use market, right? At least the Evolve. Actually, I'm sorry. Let's back up a little bit. So NanoSphere Health Sciences is the parent company. Evolve is the brand that people, at least in Colorado right now, can see on their store shelves, right?
That's correct. Yeah, it's the brand of the technology that we're licensing to manufacturers in the cannabis industry.
Okay, so and when people are, like I said, I would imagine you have to do a lot of training with bud tenders who are now, in some cases, being almost treated like a pharmacist. People are coming in and saying, my hip is really bothering me. I've had a hip replacement and I'm sick of taking these painkillers. Are you finding that bud tenders who are selling your product are asking you for this type of information and want it?
You're correct. People are always going in and they're looking to these bud tenders as industry experts. And so we've actually developed a program to help educate the bud tenders in Colorado. And it's a certification program, NDS certified, where they take an online course. They have to pass an online test. And then as a retailer, they get discounts on their wholesale orders. But for us, it's ensuring that the retailers and the bud tenders of our product know how to speak to it correctly and know how to transfer the key points and the key benefits to the consumer in a way that they understand.
So can you also talk about the gel or the nano serum isn't the only delivery mechanism that you guys are working on. Can you talk about some of the other things that are in queue that you're allowed to talk about?
Yes, of course I can. So as I mentioned before, we're a biotech company, and the nano delivery system actually has multiple routes of administration that we can utilize into the body. So we have our transdermal, which is through the skin. We're coming out with an intranasal, which we're very, very excited about. That should hit shelves early this summer. And the intranasal is very exciting, designed for both the medical market, but more so the recreational market, as it has a very fast onset of actions. We're talking, under 80 seconds here, you start to feel the effects. And it lasts for about 4 hours. So it's very convenient, very easy to use, and is very consistent. And that's important for a rec product.
And you see that, I guess I'm surprised to hear that an intranasal spray is considered a rec product, and that people would be interested in using that versus a gummy or smoking or a vape pen. I guess what's the thinking behind that? Because I think nose spray to be just, that's what I think of when I think of a nose spray, like an allergy or I'm not feeling great. So I guess
fair enough.
Yeah.
I can see where you're coming from. But for us, we looked at it as, okay, what's the end goal? Well, the end goal is the feeling or the sensation you get no matter how you administer it, right? Now, we look at edibles or consumables as having a significant problem with the delay in onset and the variability in that onset. So that's not a very good recreational product. for example, you could go to a concert, take a brownie, but it not take effect until the concert's over. So as a recreational, device, it didn't seem too practical. Now, smoking and vaping still have stigma, especially among older generations. But even outside of that, if you just want to be more, on the down low, if you will, about your usage, intranasal is simple, and it's quick. And if it's convenient and consistent, we're likely to see a fast uptake in usage.
I think it's going to be really interesting to see, once you guys are in the market, how, that does versus, the other delivery mechanisms that are out there.
Well, absolutely. I gotta tell you, one of the reasons why we pushed this to the fast track of our products is we wanted our bud tenders to really appreciate the technology and our brand. And so we designed a product to provide a big impact because, in Colorado, most of the bud tenders have developed a pretty big tolerance to cannabis as their daily consumers, right? So we wanted a product that was going to be impressive, and that means it needs to hit you fast, it needs to hit you hard, and it needs to hit you every single time, and that's what this does. And so far, the response from the bud tenders have been fantastic.
Awesome. Well, I think that's a good spot for us to take a quick break. We're chatting with David Sutton from NanoSphere Health Sciences, and we'll be right back with the Green Rush.
More Green Rush coming up after we roll through our sponsors.
Oh, let the marijuana llama tell you something now about a game for your phone gonna make you say, wow! The game's about the game of growing cannabis for cash. Grow the seed, sell the bud, put the savings in the stash. Little by little, your empire grows large. Put the big celebrities inside your entourage. You can choose to play with Snoop or me or Cheech and Chong, Cypress Hill, Willie Nelson, Wiz Khalifa with a bong. The name of the game is Hemp Inc., that's the point. Download and play while you light yourself a joint. The business of cannabis should be no crime. Hemp Inc. is even hot-proofed by the man who run High Times. Oh yeah? Get it on Android and iOS today. Marijuana llama out. Got to tend to me own crops, Money don't make itself. Hemp Inc.
Strainwise Consulting is the most sought-after consulting company for cannabis business applications and management contracts. We consulted on the first recreational license in the world and have had an over 95% success rate on applications submitted. The industry is growing at such an exponential rate that building a powerful and lasting cannabis business is a #1 priority. Here's Strainwise's Sean Eubanks.
In our first 5 years, we branded and supported 9 medical and recreational marijuana dispensaries and approximately 160,000 square feet of sophisticated and efficient product cultivation.
Strainwise Consulting has the experience and expertise to guide you through the process.
Introducing Blue Moon CBD, straight from the bluegrass of Kentucky. With our special nano emulsion process, you'll not only get the best CBD available, you'll get more of it. Not all CBD is the same. It's your body. It's your choice. Get relief from inflammation, anxiety, and stress. Go to www.bluemoonhemp.com and use code HEMP420 for a 20% discount on your order. Balance your body. Balance your life. Make it Blue Moon CBD.
Chronicling the latest cannabis industry news and headlines, Dave Inman welcomes you to the state of cannabis. Tuesdays on demand, only on CannabisRadio.com.
Banking and Buds, understanding the business of cannabis. Welcome back to The Green Rush, only on CannabisRadio.com.
And we're back. I'm Ann Donahoe with Nick Opich, and we are chatting with David Sutton from NanoSphere Health Sciences. So NanoSphere is a soon-to-be publicly traded company on the Canadian exchange as well as over the OTC with the ticker NSHS. Did I get that right?
NSHS.
Yes. Okay. So we've had guests on here who talk about what it's like being a public company in an industry that's very oddly regulated, to say the least, and to be kind. Can you talk a little bit about your decision to become a public company? What are the pros and cons? And what are some of the obstacles you are seeing in the whole listing process?
Yeah. So we were introduced to the opportunity about a year ago, and we had just opened up a round of financing to further develop our cannabis division. And what we saw, it was a opportunity to give value to a lot of our investors that have been with us since the very beginning. Invested in a small R&D company 5 years ago, and now we could give them the opportunity to really see tangible value creation from their investment by doing this transaction. Above that, it brings more exposure to the company, and that with that exposure, we gain access to new markets. And so we really saw it as a positive move for the company to move to a public market. Even though there are challenges in maintaining share value, and basically the anxiety that it can cause watching it tick up or down on a daily basis. But
are you one of those guys that watches the stocks every minute, gets a check in on it?
I was when we first came out on the market, but since then I don't check it daily. The stock's
I think that's good for your mental health.
Yeah, it is, and my focus as president and COO of NanoSphere is to make sure that this business runs, and so I got to focus on real operations here. And if this is operating efficiently, then the stock will reflect that at some point.
Right. We actually were just talking to a reporter, Deb Borchardt, and she was talking about how the whole market, has taken a kind of a dip or a correction, and that how, if one stock in the cannabis universe goes down, they all kind of follow and group together. So, our advice to our public companies is run your business. Run your business. Your stock's going to go up and down. Hopefully, it'll be trending up on the net. So, that's in general our advice is don't drive yourself bonkers by checking the stock every 2 minutes, even though we have some clients that do that, and that's fine. So Nick, actually, why don't you ask your next question?
Yeah, so I wanted to bring this back to something you had brought up earlier with the licensing. So you mentioned a little bit about the Evolve brand line, and you guys are only in Colorado right now, if I'm understanding that, right?
That's correct. Yeah, our first licensee is here in Colorado.
Yeah, so can you talk a little bit about your licensing model? It sounds very interesting, and you guys just announced the licensing agreement with a manufacturer in California. So how are you guys kind of navigating the interstate commerce regulations that are basically not allowing you guys to cross around there? And do you think your licensing model could be used as a model for other companies to potentially use? Because it seems very unique.
It is unique, and I do think other companies will probably take on this model if they haven't already, because what it allows you to do is stay one step back from the industry itself. NanoSphere as a company doesn't touch the product. We're not a licensed manufacturer. We're not registered with any state to handle or distribute marijuana, but our partners are. And so what we do is we provide them the equipment and the knowledge to manufacture the product. We also provide them with branding support and marketing support, but it's really up to them to make the product and distribute the product within their market. And so we can take that state to state, or even into Canada or other countries. It allows us to grow fairly quickly with low staff and low overhead.
Well, and you were saying it's pretty scalable too, that you're using a lot of off-the-shelf stuff so that it's not a real heavy lift. You can be up and running in, a matter of, are we talking weeks, months? How does that work?
Yeah, as we sign up a new licensee, it takes about 90 days to become operational, 30 days to get the equipment in, another 30 days to set up and train, and then 30 days to really focus on training the employees on how to manufacture the product. The process really isn't complicated, but how we put the whole line together has really been creative, and it really allows us to scale production volumes as needed, and it doesn't require a lot of space to do that, which is also nice. Because we deliver in microliter dosages, we're not dealing in huge volumes of material. Our pen that we sell here in Colorado, we have two volumes. We have a 5 ml and a 10 ml, and that 10 ml is 40 doses. So we're talking very limited, volumes, but high production capacities.
So are you guys just going to stay focused on California for the time being, or do you have plans to expand also to like Nevada or Washington as well?
Yes, yeah, we do. In fact, we're in conversations with about a half a dozen other states to execute license agreements in those markets. Nevada is obviously a tremendous opportunity, and that's where we really see our intranasal taking off.
In Nevada, really?
In Nevada, at the yeah, absolutely. Within the casinos, just a discreet pump, and you're good to go.
Oh, I like that.
Okay, then.
Everybody in Vegas just got excited.
And this will be all under the Evolve brand too. So eventually we'll be able.
Right.
I'm sitting in LA. I'll be able to go to my local shop and see the Evolve brand on the store shelves, right? Or
right.
do you guys have any plans to do some white labeling?
There's always opportunity to white label, as long as it features our NanoSphere delivery system logo and conveys the message that would be consistent with the technology. Then there's always that opportunity. But right now, we really want to focus on building the Evolve brand.
Got it. So we touched a little bit on your personal journey in the cannabis space, but I think what people might not know is that NanoSphere is a family business and that you work with your dad and your sister. Can you talk to us a little bit about what that's like and what brought your family to cannabis? And that must be really fun Thanksgiving chatter.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. So I've been working with my father for a lot of years now in various entrepreneurial endeavors. We just began exploring these things together, and then when we were introduced to Dr. Kaufman and his technology, we really formed kind of a cohesive unit here. My sister, she's fantastic. She is the chief marketing officer, super creative. And it makes for the office environment to be pretty dynamic. When we're not always in agreement. Sibling, yes, absolutely. And unlike traditional offices where you're not related, you may not feel comfortable to disagree all the time. Well, we share our opinions, and we share them with vigor, if you will, sometimes. So it makes for the office dynamics to be a little bit more lively sometimes.
Well, lively.
So how do you? Yeah.
No, go on.
Oh, I was just going to ask, so how do you talk to your friends and family that aren't in the cannabis space about what you guys are doing? I imagine it's got to be a lot different. Like, do you have to feel like you're educating them a lot, or how do you describe what it is that you guys are doing to them?
Lately it's been nice because I just give them the product and I say, here, try this. And as soon as they try it, whether they're in pain or they have a little anxiety, they get it. And so I think the stigma around cannabis has definitely changed. I know it has within my family. I mean, it did take some convincing of my dad to bring the company in this direction. But now that he's seen the benefits of what cannabis can provide to people in pain and other ailments that they're facing, it just was the smartest move.
So
and now he's 150% behind it.
And how did you, I guess, bring that to him? What was it? The argument that brought him around? Was it the opportunity? Did he actually try it and he had that like holy shit moment, or what was the moment that brought him around, if there was one?
We had a prototype CBD nano encapsulated product, and my mom's got Crohn's disease. And she was about to have an attack, and my dad just suggested, why don't you try rubbing this on your stomach? And she'd been on a lot of different medications. Nothing really seemed to work. But for whatever reason, after applying this prototype, her spasms stopped and didn't return all night. And nothing has ever done that for her. And so I think he saw that, and that was the holy shit moment.
Right. Wow.
See, that's amazing. I have multiple family members that have multiple sclerosis, and so it's similar kind of issues where it's just pain or spasms and stuff like that. So knowing that there's a product out there that really can make that kind of instantaneous difference is really good to know that there's companies like you guys making that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're really proud to have developed the product to this point, and we're always excited to hear new testimonials of people using it for different treatments and the outcomes and how happy they are that it is working. So it's a rewarding business to be in, that's for sure.
That's a great place for us to take a quick break. We're talking with David Sutton, who is the president and COO of NanoSphere Health Sciences. We'll be back in a second.
More Green Rush coming up after we roll through our sponsors.
Cannabis concentrates have been around for hundreds of centuries. In 19th century America, extracts mixed with other herbs were sold as a miracle cure. Now, Apex Supercritical has elevated the science of extraction into the 21st century. Apex Supercritical is the leader in CO2 extraction, which is the cleanest, safest, and purest way to extract plant oils. ROI in as little as 3 weeks. Our cost-effective systems are fully automated with an industry-leading 3-year warranty. And if we don't have your system in stock, we can build one in as little as 4 weeks, bringing CO2 extraction to the masses. Learn more at apexsupercritical.com. 4-week build excludes high production systems.
Introducing 420 Cloud, ignited by MSIG, one of the fastest growing social apps around. The only app you'll need for all things cannabis. Find the latest cannabis news, videos, and stories, ranging from business and tech to sports and medicine. Start your career in cannabis by seeking, identifying, and applying for jobs through our expansive listings. For businesses, 420cloud.com features a full-scale cross-channel network, monetizing high traffic for big data conversion and analytics. Download 420 Cloud now from the iTunes Store or Google Play. MSIG.com is a publicly listed company on the OTC, symbol MCIG.
At Alternative Vibes, our core values of quality, loyalty, respect, and honesty guides us in our mission to help families find peace and harmony through our products and services. Whether you are looking for a more natural way of living, shopping essential oils, topicals, and edibles, or searching for a path towards achieving your goals, we are your choice. Learn more about our complete line of natural products and solutions at AlternativeVibes.com, bringing quality of living to life. AlternativeVibes.com.
Our mission is to discuss extraction, processing, business practices, and lessons learned with the established experts of the extraction process on Mission Supercritical, a service of Apex Supercritical. Mondays on demand, only on CannabisRadio.com.
Banking and Bud, understanding the business of cannabis. Welcome back to The Green Rush, only on CannabisRadio.com.
And welcome back to the Green Rush. I'm Nick Opich subbing in for Lewis Goldberg this week. I'm joined, as always, with Ann Donahoe, and we are speaking today with David Sutton, the president and COO of NanoSphere Health Sciences. David, we're now on to the part of the show where we have a special segment called Puff Puff Pass. It's where we want you to tell us 2 things that you really love about the cannabis industry and 1 thing that you hate. One thing that you can just totally pass on when it comes to having to deal with everybody or anything within the cannabis space.
Okay. Definitely Puff would be the medical benefits it provides. The fact that this can replace fentanyl, as your pain reliever. That's a good thing. The other thing is the recreational side. It's fun. It's
Are you a recreational user?
Fun. Occasionally, yeah.
What's your delivery mechanism of choice?
I'll do our intranasal as well as our transdermal, mostly. Yeah. And then I'll vape occasionally.
Okay.
So yeah, that's where I was wondering. Vape is becoming very popular. I keep hearing that flower is kind of on its way out in terms of as cannabis becomes more prevalent in our regular culture. Do you think what you guys are doing could become popular with, say, people that are 21 years old and maybe first time getting into cannabis? Are they going to maybe opt for that nasal stuff over actually like smoking or vaping, you think?
You're exactly right. We think that that's going to be highly attractive to new users because of this, the more credibility of the product. It is science-backed. It presents itself that way. I think there's just going to be more initial trust there than a vape pen or dabbing or something along those lines.
Okay. So, and what's your path? What do you hate?
Path, regulation. It's a nightmare. Whether it be federal or state, this industry is in its very infancy, so it's not, it hasn't developed. The regulation isn't where it needs to be. Prototyping products in Colorado is very, very difficult because of the statutes. We're really there and designed to prevent, leakage onto the black market, but it makes it really hard to test product and to see if it's marketable or not. So definitely regulation.
That's a very popular path, to be fair. So let's talk about the future. Where do you see yourself in 5 years, and where do you see the company in 5 years?
Well, let's start with the company. It's our vision that this company has multiple divisions of revenue streams, and cannabis just being one of our opportunities. Because we have multiple patents on other delivery mechanisms in other industries, such as NSAIDs and nutraceuticals, we see ourselves developing those as well. So 24 months from now, we plan on initiating more clinical studies around the nano-encapsulated NSAID products, developing other pharmaceutical applications, as well as moving into animal health. I don't know if you have pets or not, but trying to get your dog to swallow its pill can be a nightmare, right? Imagine just a quick spray in the nostril or in his mouth delivers the medication, and you're done.
That's amazing.
So
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I think that's actually a really interesting business model, in that with the cannabis industry itself in flux, and until, it gets rescheduled and the federal government decides whatever it's going to decide, to have these other, revenue generating business channels, so that, you're not so chained to one specific market like the cannabis market that does prove to be so volatile.
Absolutely. It's a four-legged stool, if you will.
Right. Well, I think it's an incredibly smart company. The product is awesome. Actually, Lewis uses it on his shoulder. So he's got some shoulder issues, and he was able to nab some Evolve from when we met in Denver a couple weeks ago, and he's super happy with it. So I would encourage anybody who's in Denver, anyone who's in pain, anyone who has some anxiety, definitely go check out the Evolve product. And also, shout out to Kate. The product is beautiful. It's awesome packaging. They've done a really great job with it. So I would definitely encourage everyone to check it out. So, David, what did we miss? What did you want us to ask you that we didn't, if there's anything?
I think you covered it. One thing I'd like to throw out, though, if you're interested in the Evolve product line, go to evolveformulas.com and check out our website. You can go to our locator and find what dispensaries we're in Colorado. When we're up and operational in California, we'll be able to do it there as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, David. We really appreciate it. Again, we've been talking with David Sutton from NanoSphere Health Sciences. Check him out on Twitter at @NanoSphere and at nanospherehealth.com. And then we'll also put a link in to the show notes for the Evolve website and Twitter handle and all that fun stuff. Nick, thanks so much for pinch hitting today.
Yeah, thanks for letting me join you.
Lewis should be nervous. And Brasco, as always, thanks for helping us produce this podcast. If you want to chat with us, you can find us on Instagram and Twitter with the handle @GreenRushComms, as well as at kcsa-cannabis.com. Don't forget to subscribe to The Green Rush in your favorite podcatcher. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, David. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
The opinions expressed on this CannabisRadio.com program are those of the guests and hosts and do not necessarily reflect those of the staff and management of CannabisRadio.com. Any rebroadcast or redistribution without proper consent of CannabisRadio.com is prohibited.